So, the Opera. The Opera is kind of our halo machine. It's top of the range. The key thing about the Opera is it gives you absolutely every parameter of potential control that you'd want to have when creating the perfect espresso. Everything's designed to create the best possible in-cup quality, giving the barista the most control that they could possibly want and need on the machine. So we have a multiple boiler layout, very similar to the Cafe Racer. The big differences between the Opera and the Cafe Racer is we have the main steam boiler with a heat exchanger which then powers the back boilers on the brew groups. The slight difference between this and the Cafe Racer is that we only heat the water to about 78 degrees in the back boilers compared to 82 on the Cafe Racer. The reason for that is we actually have larger group heads on the Opera compared to the Cafe Racer. So these are 700ml reservoirs on these group heads compared to the 500 on the Cafe Racer. So again, further improving stability and consistency and temperature. Each group head is then independently temperature controlled for stability, and you can then vary every other parameter within each group head around the brewing process from there. So what we have on the Opera, which is pretty unique, is we have water pressure which is stabilized by a rotary pump into the machine. So we stabilize inlet pressure to the machine to 2 bar across every parameter of the machine internally. Once we've got a baseline of pressure inside the machine, it allows us to then really control the pressure of the extraction and the flow of the espresso. Lots of machines that claim to do pressure profiling and have the ability to ramp up pressures or drop pressures generally have set points around those pressures. Once you've set those points, they're replicated across each group. On the Opera, you've got complete independence, not only group to group, but every single independent brew recipe as well. So there's no set pressure as such, everything is customizable for every single recipe. We do that through not using additional rotary pumps, we do that through using a gear pump that sits directly behind each group head. So that gear pump we can then control with different voltages to create different pressures. Because we stabilize the 2 bar of pressure into the machine, we can then use those gear pumps to create very accurate pressure profiles coming out of the machine. So for example, if I wanted on the top button here to have a 88 milliliter shot, but I wanted the first 5 seconds of that to be at 3 bars, the main body of the infusion to be at 8 bars, and then a ramp down pressure at 7 bars, I can create that completely bespokely to that button. But then if I wanted to completely change that, have no pre-infusion, but huge post-infusion, I can change that on that button. So everything is available to be customized and looked after on this machine to the nth degree to really maximize the quality of any coffee. The real joy of it is none of that is affected in the operational side. We can program that all behind the scenes and all pre-service, so that when it comes to actually running the machine and operating the machine in a busy cafe environment, the machine's still got the capabilities to deliver high volume, high consistency with ease from barista to barista. It's not taking a skilled chemist degree to actually operate the machine and run the machine day to day. It's still very easy to operate. So from a steam arm point of view, we've got the same steam arms as we have on the Cafe Racer. They originated on the Opera. And then from a shot activation point, we actually have 6 recipes as standard. We can either have any one of these 3 buttons, or we can, and then each button you have a forward push or a backwards pull to activate the shot. So we have button 1 with a recipe, push it away, or push it to pull it towards us, and that's 2 different recipes. So we have 6 different recipes per group head at any one time. What we have on the displays here is we have our temperature, and that's our live temperature of the boilers on the machine. We then have our milliliters of the dose that we're going to run and the number of seconds that we're then going to run that shot for. When I activate the lever, it actually runs down the number of mils left to run and the number of seconds going. On this disc around the outside, we then have our pre-infusion, our main body infusion, and our post-infusion, so we can tell at what stage the shot is running on the machine at any one time. You'll also notice when you run a shot, it's a lot quieter than most traditional espresso machines. The pump under the counter maintains our 2 bar, but the gear pump inside our machine is really quiet. So you just hear a little whirring, and that's the gear pump running inside the machine. Same as the Cafe Racer, we've got these big 700ml reservoirs, and then also this bottom ring is also heated to stabilize our portafilters as well, to make sure we get ultimate consistency. You can control the temperature of the hot water on the central display, and the dispense volume on that as well. To make it really, really simple to program the Opera, we can do parts of it on the machine. The most simple way to do it is actually through our app that we've been running on the machine for the last 10 years. So I can see every parameter that the machine's running. It's connected by Wi-Fi. You can do this both on a Mac or on any iPhone to connect to the machine through our Sanremo connector app. I can control all the steam pressures, the main boiler temperatures and the group temperatures on any one of the groups. I can also program any of the buttons, single or double, and then dose 1, 2 or 3 within those. I can even look at the brew ratios that I'm looking to achieve by entering the coffee weight I'm using with the brew water and then my desired output as well. I can then calibrate the pre-infusion by seconds, the pressure of the pre-infusion, how many bars I want to use. That will then give me my main infusion volume, my post-infusion volume, and then how many bars of pressure I want to run on my main body and on my post-infusion. Once I'm happy with a recipe, I can actually write those parameters to the machine. It will send them to the machine and update the machine live, ready to go. Equally, if I really like that, I can load my save parameters and find all the different coffees that I want to, that I've perhaps built on a different machine and want to transfer onto this machine as well. Also gives us our first sort of original sort of telemetry from a machine, so I can see how many counters that each dose has done, what time of day the machine comes off and on, play with all the temperatures, set all the group temperatures and the portafilter temperatures as well. So huge amount of calibration that you can do as the owner of the machine. It's almost like a race car. You have an engineer that can really program it and dial it up to make the best coffee possible, and then you've got a barista that literally just needs to steam the milk and press the buttons and they'll get that ultimate quality of espresso. So the Opera is really for an operator that is using multiple different coffees. I say if you were to really maximize the options and the settings and calibrations you can put into an Opera, you know, if you're a cafe that's running multiple different coffees or changing coffee seasonally, then it gives you that option to really maximize every coffee you might be using. Certainly if you've got a guest program of coffees you're using from different roasters, it will handle all of those different parameters that you could possibly need, that any roaster might say you need it to do this, run at a lower bar, lower pressure, and you've got the flexibility on this machine without mechanically having to adjust anything. It's a great machine to play with. You can get lost in it for days, and it really does highlight every part of the brewing process and how every aspect has an effect. Even from using different basket sizes, convex to flat, you can actually change the flavour and profile of the coffee very simply and very easily by creating different head spaces in the groups and everything else. So, yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of fun. Never get bored playing with the Opera, never get bored. So.